an additional increase. So when we talk about our projected expenditures, we're looking at about 140 million, which will give us roughly just a little bit more excess in there. But when we look at these particular expenditures, this again kind of goes back to when we said that 84% was in salaries and benefits. Here's a breakdown between the certificated, our benefits, our classified, our books, our supplies, services, and capital outlay for next year. So basically what our breakdown comes to is tentative agreements with any of our bargaining units. A typical 1% increase is a little over $1 million for the district. And then if there's any additional items that the district has to spend, you kind of imagine in your mind that that would be included in that. If our ADA comes in lower, if our enrollment comes in lower, if our UPP comes in lower, then you just kind of start to chip away. If it comes in higher, then obviously you would increase. Okay, so when we're looking at our total revenues for our restricted funds, we're pretty much leaving them straight across the board. Some of our expenditures, looking in the years out and contributions, have slightly increased, not too much. And of course, some of those restricted funds, again, are, we do have some SPED restricted funds in there. And then as far as our ending balances, they're still pretty healthy, and we're still looking to constantly utilize those, especially for 24-25. So a combination of all years, again, we'll be doing okay, but that is off of the basis of the information that we currently have. Everything is always dependent upon, like when we're doing presentations, it's dependent upon the information that we have at that point in time. So when we do first interim, we're looking at the information after the legislature has actually enacted upon the governor's proposal. It's also looking at where we're at, like at enrollment during that time. You know, second interim then takes into what the new proposal is, and then taking where we are at that point in time, and then of course our adopted budget. You know, it's just this continuous cycle of where we're looking at. Truly, our unaudited actuals is how we did for the year. So that kind of goes back into our budget cycle. You know, like I said, we're having our preliminary budget, which is our adopted budget, first interim, second interim. Thank God we don't have a third interim. That's a pain. And that would be if there was substantial changes. The only time that you would have a third interim is if you were a negative district, which we are not. We have a positive certification. And if your district, or if there was substantial changes to what was proposed on the May revise. So if the legislature came back in and said, okay, we're going to cut all of this stuff out of the governor's budget, then basically all districts would have to do a 45-day revise. Okay. And then, of course, we go back to our unaudited actuals, which we're already starting, and then our independent audit report, which we bring to you in December. So June, 24-25 adopted budget. September, we'll bring back our unaudited actuals, actually how we did for 23-24. And then December, our 24-25 first interim. A lovely cycle that we just continuously do every year, and thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you to my team out there.
Thank you. Board, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a few.
Sure.
When it comes to our ELAP, you mentioned our ELAP funding may
Yes.
Be pulled back. possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Does that directly hit like our Action Youth America and after school programs? And what would that look like for our students?
Okay, so in the prior 2 years, we have received over $15 million in ELOP. But like I said, that ELOP is restricted funds. We actually haven't utilized all of those funds. And our current programs that we have for like AYA and $1 Million Kids, Mind Kids, those don't even begin to like touch the true amount that we have. We actually are going to be losing some of that funding. They're going to be pulling some of that back, and that has to do with unfortunately not implementing more programs sooner for our students.
Okay. Does that also include the ACES grant as well?
So ACES grant is slightly separate. So that's a completely different pot of money, and we do utilize that in our after-school program. So it's a combination that you can use ELOP. So ACES would fund one particular activity, and then ELOP would fund a number of different activities.
Okay. Additionally, you mentioned that we're spending 84% as of right now
Yes.
of our income, and that's before tentative agreements with our unions, or is that factored in?
So that is not factored in with what we tentatively have spent. So you can suspect an increase in that. So that is always going to slightly change due to what your actuals are, right? So at any point in time, if there's agreement that's made, if it has been ratified and accepted, then of course those expenditures would go up, right? But then you also have to look at the revenues. If our ADA came in higher, if they came in lower, then that would impact that overall pie, essentially.
Okay. Okay. And then my last question is, historically, that I can see, we typically supplement our restricted funds for the SPED programs
Yes,
with our unrestricted.
that is correct.
What are we looking at for that? You know, you had mentioned inflation, you had mentioned prices. I'm guessing contractors go up, everything. Have we budgeted the numbers for the supplemental that we may need for those programs in the upcoming year to make sure that our students are fully funded in, you know, our SPED and whatnot?
Yes. So some of those pieces are always fluctuating if, you know, as far as like if we have additional cases that come up that need additional services. However, we're always looking at all of those vendors. And so one of the things that Tasha's team, along with business services, is we truly look into the activities and the contractors in which we utilize and to see if there's additional services that could be provided. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Best in the back. She's been really diligently working on that with Tasha and her team, and working with our business services, especially for 24-25, to really mitigate those costs and keep them in line with what they really should be. I can't always predict the future, and if there was something that potentially would have come up, you know, those could always increase, but we really try to mitigate them as much as possible.
Okay, perfect. I do want to say thank you to your team, and thank you, Mr. Clemish, for all of your hard work and dedication to our district.
Piggyback on Trustee Webster's question regarding ELAP funds. Grants.
Yes.
Okay. Approximately how much will we be returning to the state?
Currently, we're looking at over $9 million.
Okay. I guess I'll question academic services when they prepare their LCAP report on why those funds have not been utilized.
So those are separate from LCAP, and that was actually a plan that was written and in place. However, I don't believe that it was fully implemented. And so I'm trying to think of, we are working, the team that we currently have on board as far as cabinet, working with our sub teams to truly implement all of those moving forward. So this way they are utilized. When I came up here back in second interim, one of my comments is I don't ever want to leave money on the table. Those are the types of things where I don't want to leave money on the table. And so it's truly working with all of our partners in cabinet and all of our teams to ensure that the plans that we're writing and everything that we're doing, we're spending it. And it just goes back to benefiting our kids. My number one goal is always solvency of the district, but providing, being able to provide the means to all of our teams, partners, teachers, whoever it may be, to support our students, because truly without students, we wouldn't be here.
That's true. That's true. Do you know offhand the grant that was awarded to the district, the ELAP grant?
So for 23, 24, I believe it was 10 million, 22, 23 was a little over 5.6. And I want to say in the year prior, we spent over 2.5, I want to say, in that year. And then I might mix up my years here. I'm like, you're calling. But I know that we're really trying to utilize everything that we can. I've actually been working with our audit team to kind of recognize some of the activities that had happened in last year's audit to see if we could have some audit adjustments and recognize them in this year, because truly they were activities that had happened last year. So this way we don't give away so much.
Exactly. $9 million is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
Especially during these times.
Yep.
Going back to your statement on potential suspension of Prop 98, is that a potential action, or are they proposing to do that?
That's what they're proposing to do. So like I said, the governor's May revise, of course, is his proposed budget, right? Then it goes to the legislature to actually enact upon it and basically approve it. And it's in those details do we get like, oh, you can do this, but you can't do this. And you can do this, but you can't do that.
Okay. I think my last question will be, third interim. As you know, the district prepared a third interim 22-23 year. Could you explain why a third interim is required? Because what you said was not what we were told. So could you explain that again?
Okay, so typically a third interim is prepared in the event that either you have a qualified budget or a negative budget. As that means like the next 2 years out, you're negative, you're not going to meet what your spending goals are, or if there's substantial changes. So substantial changes would be change in legislature, any other additional components that the state might put out that you would have to actually change it. It goes for the same 45-day report, like adopted budget revised type of thing. If there's any substantial changes on the state's part that you have to identify.
And the auditors will catch that. It should appear in our audit.
Correct.
Are you correct on that? Okay.
Yeah, so you remember our audit team comes in and verifies all of the activities in which we do.
Okay. And that's all I have. Thank you for your report. It's very detailed and very clear. And thank you for your team for preparing this. It's an eye-opener, actually.
Okay. Any additional questions?
I have none at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I have none either, Ms. Julie. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Section 5, public hearing with Dr. Albert.
Thank you. So for our next item, it will be a public hearing, and I would like to introduce Dr. Dwyzon, who will be presenting in the LCAP plans. So Dr. Dwyzon, thank you. Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just a hearing. it's just a hearing, so the information is provided to you, and then at the next board meeting, we will be coming with a presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so we're opening it up at 6:12 for discussion.
Are we allowed to make comment?
You can.
Perfect. I do want to make a comment on our LCAP plan this year. You know, I came to the board in January of 22, where this plan was substantially smaller, and very undetailed. And I just want to take a moment and say thank you to Tasha, or Dr. Doizon, and her team for being so thorough, for including so much information, and then also detailing the steps that we as a district are taking to really show our LCAP plans.
On the LCAP, Dr. DeWison, you will be preparing, I know it's on the agenda, the LCAP is on the agenda for us to review and look at. You know, there's some areas of questions that I have regarding, let me pull it up. I don't have it. I wish I had a copy of it, but I don't. In terms of mental health, I know that we received a grant. Was it a grant for mental health services for our students? In your report, where does it identify the steps that you will take to implement that program, to utilize that money for those grants, for our students suffering in those areas?
Thank you for that question. So the grant that we received would actually be separate from the LCAP plan. However, in the LCAP plan, that particular area, mental health, would fall under goal 3. So actually goal 2, sorry, I was getting my goals mixed up. So it would fall under goal 2, and it does outline the goals and the objectives for that goal as far as mental health is concerned.
So the steps are identified in goal 2?
Yes, they are.
For some reason, I didn't see that. I have to go back and look at it. Also, there were some targeted areas that of concern from the state regarding our LCAP, and it talked about, you know, our foster youth, our homeless students, our African American students, and our low income students, and our EL students. The LCAP addressed the EL students in detail, and it talked about our foster youth and our low income, but it does not talk about our African American students, which are scoring lower than anyone else on our standardized testing, and also our suspension rates. So, and I didn't see anywhere where you would, you have a plan for that, to close the achievement gap. We've been talking about this for a number of years, closing the achievement gap with African American students, and I have not yet seen a plan to do that. So where in the LCAP, what can I find that?
So that would actually fall under goal 1, which is our academic achievement. Goal 2 would be our mental health services, and goal 3 is our parent, family, community engagement. So under goal 1, that is where we would find that information. I can take that information back that you just shared and make sure that it's very clearly outlined in the template as far as being specific.
Okay. And also, what I did have time to do, I looked at other districts' LCAP, and I saw other areas of concern, you know, and their plan were detailed specifically as to what they were going to do and the money allocated for that particular goal, the 8 priorities of the state for the LCAP. Some of what I read was repetitious, and I don't like to be repetitious. And I know sometimes you have to duplicate some of the same answers, but I really want a solid plan as to what we plan to do, especially on discipline, school climate, and student surveys. I know that you surveyed, I did not see a survey for students. Have that been completed?
Yes, and we also additionally do the Healthy Kids Survey. That information is included as well.
And what part of the LCAP
That would
Is
be
that-
under Goal 2.
go to? And does it say that you surveyed students?
I would have to go and specifically look and say that, but I know that that did happen, so I can make sure it's implemented in the plan.
Okay. Okay, and that's all I have. Thank you, Dr. Dwight.
No further discussion, and we're closing at 6:18. Moving on to 5.02, business services.
Thank you. Next, we have our business services physical service public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 24-25 budget.
We will open at 6:19 for discussion.
I have nothing.
We'll close at 6:20. Moving on to section 6, closed session declaration. We will be taking items 6.02 through 6.05 into closed session. Section 7, public testimony before closed session. The public comment period is administered by state law and is a point in the meeting set aside for members of the public to share their opinions with the board. Open meeting laws do not permit the board to engage in dialogue or answer questions. Any persons wishing to address the governing board on closed session agenda items only must complete and submit an AESD speaker request form 5 minutes before the meeting is called to order. Public comments will only be taken on agenda items during the discussion of those items. The board values public comment, and although the Board of Trustees cannot take action or discuss items not on the agenda, the Board of Trustees listens carefully and appreciates input from the public. Additionally, a public speaker can be cut off for exceeding the allotted time or for willfully causing an actual disruption to the meeting. Before cutting a person off or removing someone, the board will give at least one clear warning. If you were cut off or warned last time, please consider that your warning. Individual speakers are allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each closed session agenda items. The board limits the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentations depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may add that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. Section 7.02. Ms. LeVay, do we have anyone from ADTA wishes to speak?
Madam President, we do. We have Jennifer Rader.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, Board, Cabinet, Dr. Albert. Thank you. Welcome. I'm sorry. Thank you. Sorry. Good evening. I'm a little bit distracted, as you can see. Sorry about that. Okay. Good evening. I'd like to give you an update on our progress with the tentative agreement. Unfortunately, coming at the end of the year as it did, everything was terribly rushed. And our bylaws do not allow for a vote to be taken during any kind of break, not even during summer session, summer school. Therefore, we'll be waiting until we return in August to vote to ratify the agreement. I know there has been dreadful financial mismanagement, but I also know our reserves are higher than before, and I see where funds are being moved once again from the unrestricted category to restricted. That smacks of fraud. Juggling money to hide some here, some there, and then cry poor. It's the same story we hear every year. If the funds are unrestricted, why transfer them? Unless it's to claim you don't have the funds in the future. Our enrollment is not declining. Sorry. The 8.22% COLA was given and is not being taken back. The reserves are at least 3 times more than is required, even with higher and more conservative requirements and recommendations. And the cost to the district of giving every teacher a 1% raise is about $450,000. The 60% threshold for salaries is the minimum and does not include health and welfare and other benefits or certificates. You still are not getting the whole picture, the true picture. Unemployment rates have nothing to do with the budget in this district. If I were you sitting in your seats, I'd put off approving this budget until there's more clarity and understanding of the gross mismanagement of the past couple years. So of the $60 million in reserves, remember that it was $1.8 million to give all the teachers, $1.8 million to give all the teachers a 1% raise. Of the $60 million in reserves and a budget that is supported by supported by ADA and the California state, you offered staff, teachers, and classified employees a 4% raise, which for the teachers is an allocation of $1.8 million. I'm sorry, I got something wrong up here. The $450,000 for a 1% raise for the teachers. So with 4%, you're offering us $1.8 million out of the $60 million you have, and that's just reserves. That's not your ongoing budget that is replenished year after year after year. We are losing highly qualified teachers, 5 on the agenda tonight. I know these teachers, they are our loss. It is our loss that we are losing them. It's the other district's gain. This district's applying for waivers so that we can hire teachers who lack the proper credentials. Is that all you think our children deserve? Unqualified, uncredentialed, untrained, and unprofessional teachers. When you attend the California School Board Association conference coming up, I will be waiting expectantly for your report of what you learned and gleaned from that conference. You are accountable to us, your constituents and stakeholders. Yes, you are the top of the district. You direct the superintendent, you direct the teachers, you direct the administration, but at the populace level, we direct you, and November is coming.
The
Ms.
board
Clay,
calls. Do we have, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. The board calls Diane Lynn, please.
Good evening, Madam President LaFrench, trustees, Dr. Albert, cabinet, everybody here on Zoom, classified, certificated, and everyone out there in, what is it? It's not Zoom anymore, but whatever. First of all, I would like to thank the members who came out to George's promotion ceremony. It was really nice to see you there and seeing our wonderful students promote. I think our valedictorian did an excellent job in speaking, and I want to thank you for attending. It made us all feel really, really good. Unfortunately, I have some things to say, and it's regarding negotiations. The district has countered with the 4% for the 23-24 school year and the 1% for 24-25. And they want to do a 2-year contract with no reopeners for next year, which means no negotiations for 24-25 if we decided to accept this. Also, we will meet quarterly to review a total of 4 classifications, 2 from each side. Now, as I interpreted that, that would be 4 a year. We have 41 departments. It would take us 10 years to complete that, 10 years. We have a committee that we have that can go out and research. Understanding that the district does not have manpower or the time to do this, so they are going to be using an outside company to accomplish this. So because we're only getting 4%, I don't understand this. We're gonna spend money to do this survey, and it's gonna take a lot of years because we have in CSCA 41 different departments. I don't understand that at all. As far as health and welfare, also with the 2-year, they're willing to give us $1,000 for opting out, but it's going to be status quo for our insurance. We totally understand that it's not district's fault that our insurance rates have come up, and we realize that it is the insurance companies. However, we're not willing to give this up, and I just want to say something on behalf of opting out or actually health and welfare. My compensation is my salary, and my compensation is also health and welfare. Unfortunately, I cannot use our benefits because my husband's benefits are better. So I have to opt out. He wasn't able to get surgeries because when our insurance went down for Aetna, I went ahead and got it for both of us, and it was a disaster. My husband had to cancel 3 of his surgeries that were already approved with his insurance, and we had to wait from February when these procedures were to be done until I could opt out of Aetna. So he couldn't have his surgeries until July. That is sad. Going back to the health and welfare, we are entitled to, and as part of my compensation as well as everyone else's, to receive for classified $1,310 a month. A month. When you look me up, it says I receive this salary and I receive this compensation. It's true, I decided to opt out myself, but when we opt out right now, we only get $47 and some odd cents. Let's round it out to $48. So for every month, just for Diane Lynn, the district is saving $1,262 a month for 10 months. And we only get, right now, $48 for that. That seems like it's not right. As far as CSCA, we work hard to secure language for our members and to retain rights. And it seems with what is being proposed by district, you are trying to take our rights away. I don't understand that, especially those of us who have been here for years. I've been here for 26 years, and I don't understand it. Now, hearing that we had to give back, I thought I heard that there was some child in here, I couldn't hear clearly. We had to give back, was it $9 million back to the state? What, I don't understand that. So we're all paying the price for everything that's gone wrong with our budget. We are meeting again for negotiations on the 24th. I don't know if we're going to be able to ratify that because we'll be in summer when many of our employees will be not working. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping it's better than what we've been proposed. And all I can say is shame on the district for it getting this bad. Who's supposed to be overseeing all of this? We know that there's been some things that did not go right with our budget. And everyone here that makes this district run, the first people that our clientele, parents, community see are getting a bum deal on this. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Ms. LeVay, do we have any audience members?
We do. Madam President, the board calls Kim Smith.
Good evening. I wasn't planning on speaking, but I typed a little something up. If I can get to it. All right. Good evening, Interim Superintendent Albert, Cabinet, Board President Love French, board members, colleagues, friends, family, and students out there. I just wanted to share a conversation that I had with my daughter Zoe with all of you this evening. She's a 22-year-old UCR student majoring in Latin American studies. She's minoring in Spanish. She's a member of the cross country and track team at this NCAA Division I school. And I was just speaking with her. I was telling her how she was different from other people and how there were many situations that her dad and I have to intervene in order to keep her safe. So she had an IEP all the way through elementary school and high school, and she also received services at UCR as well. She doesn't do well with figurative language, and understanding social cues is not her strong suit. However, her strengths do include what I mentioned above, before, as well as her ability to light up a room just because she is happy to be wherever it is that she is. Now, there's another strength that she shares with her brother, Jay Patrick, who is also a student athlete, but he's at Cal State Northridge, CSUN, which is also a NCAA Division I school. They are both bilingual and biliterate, fully fluent in Spanish, and immersed in the Mexican culture. I wanted to let her know that this uniqueness was so rare that I Googled it to see what percentage of African Americans were fluent in Spanish. To my surprise, and that's in the United States, it was a mere 4%. This 4% made me feel proud that my husband, Michael, and I jumped, or rather ran, at the chance for our children to be a part of this 4% club that we knew nothing about up until I Googled it the other day. The Adelanto Elementary School District, specifically Victoria Magathan Elementary School Dual Immersion Program, made this rarity a reality for our children, and we are very grateful for that. That is a 4% that we support. That is a 4% that will make a positive impact in their lives as well as the lives of others. That is the only 4% that the Smith family supports, 100%. Thank you.
Madam President, the board would like to call on Bob Zugia. My apologies, Zubia.
Greetings, board members. I think it's sad that at this stage of the year we have a tentative agreement. What we should have is a fair finalized agreement, resulting with us being happy teachers and enjoying our summer at this point of the year. But that is not the case, because from mine and various others' perspectives, the board did what it could to bring us to this point, resulting in an unfair and unfinalized agreement. Throughout the year, we treated the board fairly and respectfully, but I don't believe this courtesy was reciprocated. What we received were long waits on Wednesday nights, waiting for the board to return from deliberation, only to hear that the board has nothing to share tonight, which in turn tells me that our time was wasted, knowing full well that we have class to teach tomorrow morning. We also had all our offers at the table rejected throughout the whole school year, every single one of them. And now we are being offered a whopping 4% COLA, much less than what we presented and asked for throughout the year. And not only that, the increase in health coverage is going to soak up most or all of that like a huge dried up sponge. It's almost like we're not getting anything. We'll be basically handing it over to healthcare. I and others believe that if we accept this tentative agreement, the board will continue to offer us meager table scraps while they feast on the prime cuts, as they take care of themselves all too well quite frequently. We are all highly educated professionals and can perceive when we are being treated fairly or taken advantage of. And right now, I have that internal uncomfortable sensation that we are being cheated out of what we truly earned and deserve. Lastly, much is always expected of us. There are always new goals, policies, and procedures that are being added to our plate. Is it easy to always be flexible and add these new tools to our teaching repertoires while moving the curriculum along forward?
30 seconds.
I say definitely not. Therefore, I hope the board will be brought back to the table sometime in the near future to present an agreement that is not incredulously unfair. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam President, that concludes the speakers for tonight.
Thank you. Recess to closed session. Trustees, I need a motion to recess.
Webster, I motion to recess to closed session.
May I get a second?
Turner, I second.
Ms. LeVey, will you please take the vote?
Trustee Webster,
Webster, I.
Trustee Turner,
Turner, I.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, aye.
Trustee La French.
Left French, aye. Motion passed 4-0. The time is 6:39. We're in closed session. Thank you. Reconvene to open session. The time is 9:07. Roll call, please, and a quorum establishment. Ms. LeVey?
Madam President, I do want to make an announcement that Trustee Soto did arrive at 6:39 p.m. and he left at 9:07 p.m. and Trustee Webster left at 9:05 p.m. I'll go ahead and I'll take roll call. Trustee Stewart,
Present.
Trustee Turner,
Turner present?
Trustee La French.
Love French present. Quorum has been established. Closed session report. Regular board meeting of June the 11th, 2024, call out for closed session. The board has considered the appointment of an acting superintendent and voted unanimously to appoint Dr. Albert as acting superintendent. The board also took action in closed session to approve and ratify the superintendent's employment agreement. As required by the government code, the board is required to provide a verbal summary of compensation and fringe benefits. Specifically, Dr. Albert's contract provides the following. It is effective May the 28th, 2024, and continuing until terminated or otherwise extended. It provides base compensation in the amount of $220,000 and annual yearly step increase as provided in the superintendent salary schedule. Use of a district vehicle and the same health and welfare benefits and retirement contributions as other district administrators. Thank you very much.
Thank you, board, for your confidence.
Moving on to section 11, public testimony.
Madam President, we do not have any speakers this evening, so you can opt out from reading the portion.
Oh, no, I shall read this.
Okay.
I sure shall. The public comment period is administered by state law and is the point in the meeting set aside for members of the public to share their opinions with the board. Open meeting laws do not permit the board to engage in dialogue or answer questions. Any person who wishes to address the governing board on open session agenda and non-agenda items only must complete a goldenrod speaker form and submit it to the assistant to the superintendent before the meeting is called to order. The Board of Trustees values public comment, and although the Board of Trustees cannot take action or discuss items not on the agenda, the Board of Trustees listen carefully and appreciate input from the public. Additionally, a public speaker can be cut off for exceeding the allotted time or for willfully causing an actual disruption to the meeting. Before cutting a person off or removing someone, the board will give at least one clear warning. If you were cut off or warned last time, please consider that your warning. Individual speakers are allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each open session agenda item. The board limits the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentations depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. Thank you, Ms. LeVey, that we have no one to speak. Moving on to section 12, adoption of the minutes. 12.01, trustees, I need a motion to approve as written and order filled regular board meeting minutes of May the 28th, 2024.
Trustee Turner, I motion to approve the minutes of May 28th, 2024.
Benz, I second. I mean Stewart.
Ms. LeVey, please take the vote.
Trustee Turner,
Turner, aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, I.
Trustee La French.
Left French, aye. Section 13, consent agenda. We are taking items 13.02 through 13.55. Does any trustee want to pull an item? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve?
Turner, I motion to approve the entire consent agenda.
Stewart, I second.
Ms. LeVey, please take the vote.
Trustee Turner,
Turner, aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, I.
Trustee La French.
Left French, aye. Motion passed. Moving on to 15, new business. Dr. Albert.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have for item 15.01, resolution ordering school district elections for governing board members whose terms expire December 13th, 2024. The resolution that pursuant to Education Code, Section 5302, the county superintendents of schools of this county is hereby ordered to call an election for the purpose and in accordance with designations containing in the following specifications of the election order made under authority of Education Code Section 5304, 5320, and 5322. In the specifications of the election order, the date of the election, Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Purpose, election of 2 governing board members. Polls will open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. The candidates, the governing board members whose terms expire December 13th, 2024 are Christine Turner, which is a full term, and that was an elected position. Date of appointment is December 2020. And then Miguel Soto, which is a short term for an appointment, and that date of appointment is March 28th, 2023. And we just need a motion and a vote.
Turner, I motion to approve.
Stewart, I second.
Ms. LeVey, please take the vote.
Trustee Turner,
Turner, aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, I.
Trustee La French.
Left French, aye. Motion passed. 15.02, certificated personnel. Approve the declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the 2024/25 school year.
Thank you so much. So this is an annual in regards to our CL 500 form in regards to identifying our staff that is out of their credentialing area. And this is an annual number that is well within the lines that we typically would approve. So we just need a motion and an approval.
Trustee Turner, I motion to approve.
Stewart, I second.
Ms. LeVey, please take the vote.
Trustee Turner,
Turner, aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, I.
Trustee La French.
Left French, aye. Motion passed.
Item 15.03 is a memorandum of understanding with our CSCA bargaining team members in regards to the 24, 25, and 25, 26 work calendars.
Can I get a motion?
Stewart, I motion to approve and bless you.
Thank you.
Turner, I second.
Ms. LeVey, please take the vote.
Trustee Turner,
Turner, aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, I.
Trustee La French.
Left French, aye. Motion passed. Moving on to section 16, governing board members' reports and announcements. I will be waiving my report. or announcement?
I just want to say for our students who are on vacation, I hope you have a restful, joyful one. And this also includes our staff. There's no tired like the end of the school year tired. But I'm also pleased that we have over 700 students in our summer school program, and over 100 in our I forget the acronym, the ESY. See, I get my acronyms always mixed up, and it just pleases me. I know when I had to go to some summer school at first, I was upset, but then it turned out that I actually liked it. So I didn't mind so much. So I just hope you kids have a good time. You know, staying in the routine. And I have to admit that the new school year is my favorite time of year. I don't know, there's something about a new school year that just gets me happy. So enjoy. Thank you.
Just for the sake of time, I'll keep my comments short. First of all, I would just like to say I apologize for not attending some of the promotional ceremonies on Thursday and Friday. I hear that, as always, the celebration is fantastic all the time. I was able to attend some of the elementary promotional ceremonies, which were awesome as well. And congratulations to the students that are leaving our district and moving on to high school. It's going to be a different world, but you could do it. And I know that you will be successful in doing that. I would also like to say that I will be visiting tomorrow with Dr. Albert. I will be walking through some of our summer school classes. I did that last year, and I could tell you it was an entirely different environment. And teachers were really extremely happy with the lesson plan and the participation of the students, and the students were happy. And for the most part, they also get to go on field trips, so I'm happy about that. Some of our kids do not leave this high desert, so for them to be able to go on a field trip, with their friends, it's a great experience, and I'm happy that we're able to do that. I have to say that, when you hear about money giving back to the state, I get upset, and if I appear to be upset, I apologize for that. But at the same time, our kids deserve every single penny of what is given to them, and I know that protocol is going to be put in place, to make sure that that never happens again. So, with that being said, I will conclude my comments, and everyone have a safe drive home. And also, congratulations, Dr. Albert. I know that you came in a short period of time, had to take on a tremendous role, not the role that you were hired to do. And I appreciate your dedication and tenacity to keeping the district moving forward. And Ms. Gonzalez, I have to say your presentation and what you do, and coming behind a CBO that hadn't been here in 2 years, you're doing a fantastic job. So I really appreciate the honesty and the transparency that you present to us and to keep us informed. We may not want to hear it, but we need to hear it so we can, make the appropriate adjustment to what we need to do. And to our EAs that constantly help us out, and also our director of special education, our coordinator, acting director of special education. She's here every single board meeting. It's good to see your face, and I hear that you're doing a tremendous job, so keep up the good work. And with that being said, it's almost time to go home. So that ends my comments, and our security team for keeping us safe. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, since that was short, I guess, huh? Okay, I do want to take the time, since I said I wasn't going to say anything, right? I'll keep this really short since we were all talking, right? I do want to say thank you Thank you, Dr. Albert, for being here and helping us move forward. We appreciate you. I know that it takes a team in order to do things, right? It does. So I want to say thank you to Julie. I want to say thank you to Dr. Dewizon. I want to say thank you to everyone that is in this building that is still here. I don't have all the, the fancy names like Turner has, but I do want everyone to know that I appreciate every last one of you, and that it does take a team. And the team that is up here right now, I want to say that working together as a team is going to get us pushing this district forward. Thank you very much. And I wish Holly was here to beat me with the adjournment right about now, but 17, I need a motion to adjourn.
Stewart, I motion to adjourn.
Turner, I second.
Ms. LeVay, please take the vote.
Turner, aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Stewart, aye.
Trustee La French.
Love French, aye. It is now 9:30 and we are adjourned. Thank you.
9:24.
Oh, what did I say?
Glasses, 9:30.
I took them off. I took